Hey, it's Dr. Amanda with StraightSmile Solutions, StraightSmileSolutions.com, and today we're going to be talking about those dreaded black and blue dots that you might get on your Invisalign ClinCheck, and we're also going to be talking about how to improve the tracking of maxillary lateral incisors. They are everyone's stumbling block. They are frustrating for everyone. I feel like it's something that Invisalign and other companies as well need to improve a lot. It's still not at all. Your ClinChecks still are not, without a lot of tweaks, the laterals don't track. So, and unless you put that effort out to do a special couple things and control compliance on the patient's end, likely it'll be the laterals that stop tracking first. So two major things, but they're also interconnected. So let's first talk about the laterals. Why? Why are they the first ones not to track? Well, first of all, they're not the smallest teeth in the mouth, because the smallest teeth in the mouth are lower incisors. But for some reason, and maybe it just has to do with them often, maxillary laterals are often out of position. It's pretty common. You're going to get more position issues with the laterals than you do with the lower teeth often, more severe. Also, they are very flat. They have no contour to them, and they just have a difficult time straightening. So somehow the software has not figured it out yet. Let's put it that way. That's what I think. So what do I do? Well, whenever I have a maxillary lateral that needs to be extruded, and if you're not sure if it needs to be extruded, you can look with your eyeball and see if it's extruding with a ClinCheck, but you can also go to the movements table. And the movements table is generally in the top right of your ClinCheck 6.0. It has an acronym, and I'm blanking out what it is. It's something cute. It's like TMT. Yeah, that's what it is, TMT, Tooth Movements Table. And you wouldn't think that's what it is. It sounds like it's TNT, like an explosive, but it's TMT. And when you click on that, it's going to open up this whole table with every single one of your teeth and exactly what type of movements they're having. They're going to talk about, are there extrusions? Is it going buccal? Is it going mesial? Is it going distal? Is it going mesial? Is it going lingual? All different movements for each tooth. So what you're specifically wanting to look at, for example, this, by the way, this does not correspond to this. This is just from one of my cases. But I'm looking at the ones that they're underlining. Anytime you have an underline, it's their way of saying, yikes, these are big movements, okay? So for example, this specific patient had a lot of movements, and there's one set of movements for crown, as you can see, and one set of movements for root. Crowns are not as difficult movements as root movements. Anytime you're gonna see a lot of movement, degrees, tipping, uprighting of the root this much, you should be like, yikes, okay, that's a lot. So you're going to need an attachment. So obviously, first thing you're going to do is you're going to plop an attachment on. I generally plop attachments on every single case, almost, that has lateral incisors that are even slightly off. Unless the laterals are perfect, it's getting an attachment. And then let's, of course, talk about the whole optimized versus not optimized attachments. I've done other videos on it. Optimized attachments are nice, they're sleek, they're also sharp. So in a lot of ways, patients often don't like them because of their sharpness. They can crack and break pretty easy and easier than a traditional attachment, which is just your big elongated square or rectangle for the most part. So they're nice because they're smaller, but they're also sharper and easier to break. And I also don't think they're quite as efficient for a lot of stuff as the traditional large block rectangle. And I know that's big and ugly, but guess what? It works. So I throw nice big rectangles. If it's rotated, I call it full-size vertical rectangular attachment, full-size vertical rectangular attachment on any tooth that's rotated. If it needs to extrude like a fair amount, I'm going to put a full-size horizontal attachment on it. Okay, so again, for me, rotations, root corrections, torque, major translation, things like that, I'm throwing a big full-size attachment on my laterals. It works. And then, of course, I'm going to look at the speed of the treatment plan. If it's looking like it's moving pretty rapidly, it's not going to happen. So you might as well just take whatever trays they said. If they told you need 18, well, now we need 36. Double it, if not triple it. And it will work. assuming your patient's using their chewies. And again, that's something you really need to look at. You can't just give them a chewy and say, use it. They don't understand how to use it. I've actually started getting into the whole Ortho Munchie thing, and it's a lot more expensive. It's so expensive. I can't. I'm going to do a whole thing on that because I'm really noticing how it's going to work. And we're going to take one patient and have them start on the Munchie protocol, which is a whole different thing than just use your chewies as needed. And there's like a series of munchies, and it's a big investment. And I'm trying to see if there's a way you can cut down the price on that. But I'm pretty excited about it. I'm hearing a lot of people are using them, starting to, and they're getting a lot of really good results. So, and then of course, combining that with weekly check-ins, weekly virtual check-ins, and then maybe every 2 or 3 months they're checking in person as well. If you do all of that, you will have your revisions refinements be an exception. It's going to be a one-off to have a revision refinement, unless you're waiting for teeth to come in or something and you're expecting it. On a regular case, on an adult case that's not growing, that has all their teeth in, revisions refinements will be a one-off if you make these changes that I'm talking about. But it's a lot of changes, so you have to be fully into it. Anyways, hopefully this was helpful. Again, black and blue dots. Blue dots, don't worry about it. They're just telling you it's kind of it's a little more complicated movement, a less than predictable movement. They're telling you to be looking at that area specifically. Anytime I see a blue or black dot, of course, I'm always going to double or triple my number of aligners. It doesn't mean the dots are going to go away, but it makes it more predictable. What else I'm going to do? I'm going to double check the attachment, making sure I have an attachment first of all, and if I can put on a bigger attachment, I'm going to put on a bigger attachment and swap it out with a big honky attachment. But mostly, yeah. And then lastly, especially for black dots, I'm going to point it out to the patient, and I'm going to say, and I'm going to look and say, is there another way I can do this first of all? But, you might need a revision refinement. There are some black dots in the treatment plan. These are the areas I need you to specifically keep your eye on and tracking, And of course, I'm going to refresh my whole tracking philosophy besides the virtual weekly check-ins, whether you're using Invisalign's virtual care app, which is free if you've got them, or if you're using one of these other third-party apps, which I personally like better because you can keep all your patients' braces, functional appliances, retention, relapse, everything under one personal, more private system. You don't have to give out the patient's personal information to Align technology, which for me, I can't stand that idea. I won't do it. I just won't do it. So, because having been a consumer, you start to get harassed a little bit. And I feel like you're cheapening the process. And I feel like you're breaking the doctor-patient process, by putting a third party into it, not to mention the violation of privacy. But I love the idea of some of these other third parties where they don't want your patient information. They don't care. They're not going to do anything with it. And you can have all your patients in your whole office under the exact same virtual check-in app. And I think that's really the way to go. And if there was a way that Align could tweak their process, and if there's a way I could use Align's technology for all my cases, that were other aligner companies and stuff like that, and if maybe they sold it separately, then maybe I would consider it. But I wouldn't use it at this moment because of that. They're not making any money on that, but they are collecting patient data, which they can use to sell other things, because now they have a whole new third-party store, which you may not be aware of. Ooh, thanks for giving me an idea. I'm going to review the patient store. They have a patient store, and they will let you know once you become a consumer that they're selling cases and retainer tablets and things to clean the retainers. And here's the thing is if you want a revenue stream for your own office, a whole aftercare revenue stream is a whole nother revenue stream that you can go within your office. And once you start having Align contacting your patients directly, you're losing that opportunity to have that revenue stream, whether you've built it or not. That's why I don't like the idea, because it's a whole nother thing you can do to bring money into your practice. And your patients should be buying things from you. They might be buying things from Amazon, but not everything's at Amazon. And Amazon really doesn't understand ortho, and the patient-facing stuff is terribly labeled and it's not clear. So why not have your patients going to you when they need something, when they need tooth care products and cleaning tablets and everything else, instead of having them go to somebody else. Anyways, all right. Thanks so much. Hopefully that was helpful.